All right, one episode left. One episode left. How you feeling about that, Kaylee?
I'm okay. I'm feeling okay about it. I feel like this has been. I don't know. I've liked the season, but I just know we're not going to get all the answers we want, so I guess that's why I'm feeling okay about it, because it's going to leave on some cliffhanger, and I'm going to have to wait for the next season.
So what would you want to happen? You want all the answers?
All the answers.
And then just for the show to end?
No. I know.
I mean, that's how it goes, right? I mean...
In order for the mystery to continue on, I have to live with the fact that I won't have all the answers that I want.
So, I mean, of course I don't want all the answers, by any means. I just want some.
Well,
right?
yeah.
I want satisfying answers.
Yes.
Right.
Some
but
satisfaction.
Left plenty of loose threads for, another season or two or whatever, right? So, I think if anyone's complaining about, like, nothing happening or whatever, I think that's more of what they're getting at. I like the season. It's
I do too.
I was probably into season 1 or more, but that doesn't take away from this one. But it's not over yet, so we'll see what happens in episode 10. But I feel like the comment section is really volatile. Like,
yeah, I think
it's like either people that are telling us like, stop fucking watching the show then, and I'm like, we're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed. I mean, I feel like we're being very positive.
I do too.
This season, and I'm just like, I say like the smallest thing, and people are like, you might as well just stop watching the show. And it's like,
like
why?
really intense,
What are you talking about? Maybe you should stop watching our reviews and fuck off. Anyway, or discussions.
Yeah,
they're not really reviews.
They're reviews / discussions. I guess
we're just here to talk about this episode and like to each other.
Yeah,
and you guys can listen. And if you don't want to, you can leave. That's totally fine.
It is.
Anyway, so Ball of Magic Fire, not goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire.
No.
This is a Ball of Magic
Just a
Fire.
Ball of Magic Fire.
Obviously in reference to Christy talking about how weird the universe is.
Yes.
So okay, let's get into it. First things first. This is one of those things that I feel like people are getting down on us for, but I don't really give a shit. Obviously, Kenny is just more and more annoying.
He
like
really
every
is.
episode.
This episode especially, like, he was such a hypocrite.
100%.
I get that he is upset.
Right.
Like, I understand.
He's an emotional guy.
He's emotional. He lost his dad, plus all the stress of being in this situation. But, like, everything that happens with Sarah in this, when she's, like, trying to connect to him and trying to open up, and like, I didn't ask for this, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, if you want it over, like, there's a gun in the left drawer, like, you can do whatever. Yeah. And then when she takes it out and is, like, considering it, like, okay, this is what people want, he's like,
what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? And it's like, you literally were just telling her to kill herself. Like, don't say what you don't mean. Like, if you didn't mean that, why were you encouraging her? And then don't make it, like, don't gaslight her and then make it seem like she had such a horrible idea to even, like, think about it.
She's had enough people screw with her head.
Yes,
so
exactly.
For him to come in and be like, well, if I was in the box, right, it's out of your control. And he's like, well, it's different.
And it's
no, it
not.
isn't.
It really isn't. Especially the way that she does
she's
it. Where
dead
she's
either way.
Literally leaving it up to chance by putting 2 bullets in.
The only difference for him is that he has to have some accountability for it because he told her where the gun is.
Yeah, exactly.
So he has to feel bad for it. If he puts her in the box, it's like Boyd did it.
Right.
And it's
or
because
everybody decided
we all
to do it.
we all decided it was what was right, but like her killing herself on it, whatever. Just that line.
Yeah.
When he was like, "What's wrong with you?"
I know.
I wanted to reach through the screen and punch him. Like,
just
I get it, dude. Sarah is responsible for the death of your father. I'm not gonna say the guy doesn't have every right to be upset and whatever, but to like not want to talk to her, to not have anything to do with her, and then to be like, "Why? There's a gun in the top shelf. Like, kill yourself with it."
Oh my gosh.
And then he comes out and she's like thinking about killing herself.
Yeah.
Puts the gun to her head, pulls the trigger, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" That is the lamest shit ever.
So lame.
I don't care what explanation you got, like, "Oh, well, it's because of how she did it," or no. He's just being lame, and I get it. He's upset. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what it is? It's just that he's been more and more grating on my nerves this season.
Yeah.
There's so many things that he's doing. He's always this voice that's like, you know, he's emotions first.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so there's that whole thing. I mean, that's really all there is to talk about that. We got, I'm trying to stay away from the big thing we'll save that for last. Over in Colony House, you've got, I guess I should say that at the beginning of the episode, they do walk in to the house to see what happened with the guy covered in blood. And, so I have to assume, because everybody's like afraid, like, oh, it happened to her in her sleep. And he said, like, I was watching her, right?
Yes.
Now, her body just kind of exploded in front of him, right?
Yeah.
He didn't see anything, like, fly out.
Right.
Or anything, right? Like this, because my first assumption when I saw her body like that was a bug or bugs got into her and tore her apart from the inside, right? And it's the bugs. The bugs are interesting, and we'll get to them because they're only there to some people, right?
Right. It
But
seems
then
like
they can also disappear to those very same people because Boyd sees them in the room, and then when they come back, they're gone.
Right.
And it's like, this was a locked room. How could they have possibly got out of here? So, like, it's not like they're in the room and, you know, they can see them and then the other people can't see them.
Right.
They're just gone. So they, like, can appear to some people, maybe whoever they choose to, or what, I don't know. But my first assumption with the girl, when she's all split open, is that a bug's got inside of her and then blew her apart. But he kind of makes it seem like he was there and witnessed it, and there wasn't anything that he mentioned that flew out of her.
No, and what they take from it is that she was dreaming and like fighting something off in her dream. And
Freddy
so
Krueger.
Now it's like, yeah, Freddy's coming. I really loved the way, you know, the gore on her, the way her body looked, her jaw being broken and everything. I was really happy that we got to see that. Yeah. Because it was really gnarly. Yeah, I don't know what to make of the bugs. It really, I am kind of confused by like if they're real or, I mean, they're real, but I don't know because, you know, initially it was just Boyd seeing them and Kenny, and now it's like the victims that, like, people that are getting covered in them, which obviously is the big thing we're leaving for at the end. But, like, they can see them, but nobody else can.
I mean, we're talking about bugs, so go for it.
But it just, I mean, that's really it. It's just like they see them, but nobody else sees them on them. And I think that, you know, Sarah, obviously, she's talking about how her brother Nathan had a phobia of cicadas. And she's like, what if, like, when people die, like, their fears become a part of the forest? Which is definitely an interesting concept. And you had said, like, why did it take so long, you know, for it to be integrated?
Been dead for a while.
And also, to me, I'm like, well, what else out there is other people's phobias? Because there's been plenty of people that have died, and we haven't seen, like, any clowns, or, like, you know, there's not, like, sudden darkness, or, like, But it is interesting that link exists, that connection exists.
I mean, I always think that, you know, like with Jim and whatever, like, there's people that just throw things at the wall to see what sticks. And just because a character says something and is hypothesizing, they're guessing, that's just it.
Sure.
They're guessing. Like, Sarah says that, but that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So, like, it's a cool little, like, idea, but as you said, and as I was going to say, there's been hundreds of people who have died at this place, and up until now, it was really just the monsters in the woods. Yeah. Right? And maybe, like, you could argue also the paradoxical, like, you know, looped land.
Sure. Yeah, the trap.
But I would assume that started it there. I don't think anyone died and created the looped paradox. I wouldn't think. I would assume, but I mean, we're just assuming. But there's not a lot. It's not like there's a multitude of different fears or anything. As you said, there's no clowns or darkness or whatever. I just think that if every time someone died and they introduced some kind of new threat, then sure, then that would definitely, add up.
Yeah.
But this just doesn't add up, A, and B, Nathan is their brother's name?
Yeah.
He's been dead for a long time.
Yes, he has.
And then his cicadas come after. No, the cicadas came from them killing one of those things.
Yeah, and that's
and this is like its defense mechanism after death.
It would be interesting if whenever they do kill one of them, that it like randomly populates somebody's fear who has died.
Sure,
like,
so that's the first time they've ever killed
right.
one. So the fact that it just picked one random person's fear and then it's so specific, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess it's possible that they just picked Nathan's. He's not the most recent death.
No.
He's not like some massive death. I don't know. I can't see any reason why it would just pick his fear specifically. But okay, so we got this like nursery rhyme thing going on in here about like, it's coming for 3 or whatever the hell the line is.
Right.
So obviously in this episode, we've got 3 people in the end that are at least mentally covered in cicadas. The cicada thing is weird because everybody can hear them.
Yes.
Right? At least I think so.
Yeah, they can all hear them.
Like everybody can hear them.
Is what it seems like.
It's not just certain people that can hear them, right?
I mean, we haven't seen anybody like acknowledge them. And when we saw the reaction, like when we heard the buzzing at the end of last episode, there was also screaming happening at the same time. So we weren't really sure if they were hearing the bugs as well as the screaming or if they were just hearing the screaming.
Sure.
And since then, I don't think we've actually had anybody who has not been like taken over by the bugs hear the bugs. So.
That's your sock.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd have to go back and you'd have to look at every scene after the cicadas are released. And then you would have to look at who acknowledges them audibly, right? Who visually sees them and mentions it, and who audibly hears them and mentions it.
Yeah. I honestly don't think that many people, I really don't. Like, now that we're talking about it, I don't think anybody, like, responds to hearing them that hasn't been swarmed by them.
You would definitely think that anything new to that place is noteworthy. That being said, one of the annoying things about this show that we've talked about 1 trillion times now is that people just don't seem to communicate new information to each other, and it's like literally like the most frustrating thing in this show.
Yes.
But that being said, I feel like people who have been there for a while, a Donna, a Boyd, or whatever, those are the people who see them though. I feel like the people who have been there, and there have been people in Colony House for quite a while.
Yes.
Right? Like there's new bus people, but there's a lot of people who have been there for years. I just feel like that would be a topic. I feel like people would be like, why all of a sudden? Because the leaves are changing. That's new. Not really anyone's talking about that. Only like Victor and whatever. But the fact that there's like a really loud, because if you've ever lived around cicadas, they're loud as hell.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you've been there for years and nothing's ever changed. And then you got that. I just feel like that'd be a big,
would mention it.
Yeah, hot topic for sure.
Even though they don't like to share things, but
no, they sure don't. But yeah, the people who see them, we got Boyd and we've got Kenny. They see them when they go in to look at the body, right? And then they go back in with Christy and Mary and Donna, or is she there at that point? Doesn't matter.
No, but they're not there.
There's somebody, the couple people with them, and they're like, there's nothing in here. But
Yeah.
as I said, Boyd and Kenny also were like, there's nothing in here.
Yeah.
But then the bugs that we see later, right? Only the people who are getting attacked by them are the ones that are claiming to see them.
Yeah.
And that's the first time where we've seen outright that, you know, a character is seeing them and other characters aren't seeing them in that same moment.
Yeah.
Now, because someone else already died that day, do you think that means, like, because the nursery rhyme to me means, like, we're going to take 3 people, right? We're going to kill 3 people. But maybe because one person already died, one of these 3 will survive?
Maybe.
Or do you think all 3 of these people are going to die? I mean, these are not, like, nothing characters.
No, they're not. I don't. Yeah, It's interesting that the rhyme is being brought up, but the woman who first died was singing that nursery rhyme as well. Like, that's what she was repeating when she was sleeping.
She was sleeping, yes.
So it does make it seem like maybe she's the
She was just like an
victim,
omen.
or she's like, the omen, like the one that's warning them. Because now that we have exactly 3 people who are in the same state, it does make me think that it's referring to, like, these 3 people now. And like you said, they aren't nothing characters. I mean, any of them dying. I mean, aside from maybe,
well, I mean,
what's his name?
Randall and Mary are both, like, newer characters.
They're newer, but Randall, I feel like, I don't know. I'm definitely not on Randall's side.
No,
so,
no.
like, him dying would be less impactful than maybe Mary dying for me.
I'll be very surprised if Randall survives. I don't know. Like, I feel like they're all dying or none of them are. But maybe I'm wrong on that, right? Like, you've got Julie dying would be crazy.
Julie dying would be huge.
But, I mean,
that family has lost 2 children.
I don't know. Like, when I think about her story currently, I don't see what more stories she has to tell at the moment. They could add some later, right? But, like, she could die for sure. She doesn't have any, like, really big loose plot threads or anything that she needs to wrap up. She was starting to kind of have a friendship with Elgin. You know, she has her relationship with Fatima, you know, and whatever. Like, you got that kind of stuff. And, of course, you know, she's the daughter of these main characters. But she could definitely die. She's not someone who I would be like, oh my God, like, how could they kill her? She has so much left to explore. Like, not really. That would really, like, send Tabitha and Jim into an absolute frenzy, and it would be good for dramatic sake. So I am hoping the 3 people that are attacked die, because it will add good drama. Yeah. Mary dying will screw Christy up big time. You know, Julie dying will screw Jay and, you know, Tabitha and, of course, her brother as well.
Yeah.
As well as Fatima and Ellis and all them. Yeah. When you put those kinds of characters at risk and that nursery rhyme comes up and it's like, we're going to take 3. If they, like, follow through on it, then it's, like, really scary.
Yeah. Right?
But if they all live, or if it's just kind of like one of them dies, like Randall only or something, then I don't know. It's just, it doesn't add as much, you know, like, stakes.
Yeah, the stakes lower.
Right.
What did you think about Boyd seeing his wife?
So, now Tabitha can see ghosts from what we can see, right? She's connected to this lighthouse, and her and Jade are, like, talking about rescuing the kids in the tower, and if you could get out of here, which we had mentioned in the previous one. Like, is this show just going to end with, like, burying the bodies, right? And putting them to rest, and that's what's going to free them, that they were all, like, killed or something, and their bodies just can't rest. So with her being able to see ghosts, his wife says, like, come back to me, or something like that. So, I mean, it is possible, right, that really is his wife. That's like her ghost is there, because from what we can tell, Tabitha can see ghosts. Mm-hmm. So seeing ghosts isn't, outside the realm of possibility in this show. But, of course, I don't know where I stand on that. I'm going to go with more likely it's the town screwing with him. But why? Because he had those worms in his body? Or can it, like, project images into your mind at any time? Like, are they kind of ramping up their abilities? And, and are they going to show them, like, show dead relatives and other facades to other people to try to, like, lure them into situations?
So when we see her, she flickers, like, with the radio and the lights.
Yeah.
So that I thought was interesting, that she's flickering, like a projection or something.
Right.
And I still think that there's something weird with the music box, like with this melody. And I just find it, like, I don't know. When she was like, come back to me, I was like, they're all in a coma. And she woke up and she's like talking to him, like on the other side of the coma, like in consciousness. But I don't necessarily think that's what's going on. But that was just kind of like an initial thought that I had.
I'd go for more like they're in limbo.
Or they're
and she's
in
like
limbo.
Trying to get him to cross over.
Sure. Yeah, and it's like, come on, like, move on now. Like, it's time to go. Yeah, maybe. I definitely found it weird, the timing of her showing up when, all the monsters outside seem to, like, have a new reaction, like when they all stop, which freaks, like, Donna and Boyd and everybody out, like the fact that they don't move it for a moment. And then the song comes on, the radio that's not even plugged in and is missing parts. All that seemed just very interesting that it was happening at the same time.
I mean, for me, I think really, and this is unfortunately a little too much like Lost, so I kind of hope that's not the way that it goes. But I'm pretty damn sure at this point that they're dead. That everyone died in a car wreck on the road, and that's where it brings you when you die there and don't want to move on, right? If you have some kind of unfinished business, the typical crap. I think that, like, there's maybe like a fight for your soul in that way, right? And like the devil can kind of talk through these monsters or whatever, and like Sarah was lured to the dark side, right? And everyone's trying to fight for the good, and they're almost like being put to the test to see like who's gonna go to heaven and hell. And his wife is just like trying to lure him back to like make sure that he doesn't get lured to the dark side or something. I'm like, I really don't hope it goes that way, because as I said, we get pretty much the majority of that in Lost.
Yeah.
And this is from the creator of Lost.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty silly.
Yeah.
To do the same shit again.
I hope it's not that, as much as I think that explanation could fit some things. Yeah, I hope it's not that.
Yeah. But even if it's not that, I mean, the next is, of course, the bodies being buried that are locked up in the tower.
Right.
Or they're up there and they need to be freed.
Right, which is also kind of where, Tabitha and Jade are headed towards, so... And I don't really like that either. I don't like that explanation.
Do you have an explanation you do like?
No, I mean, no, because I feel like my explanations, like my theories, are not, like, fleshed out enough, or, like... They don't explain a lot of the things that are going on. I just think that one is, like, kind of the more uninspired endings that it could have. Yeah.
So, what do you think? You think that the three are going to die?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's possible.
I will be shocked if Julie dies. I
will be too, but I
just feel like the show
totally
doesn't have the balls to do it.
I I think that it would be a really ballsy move, and I would definitely have some respect for the show because I think killing off main characters is something that's not done frequently enough, and not that you need to kill off like every main character, but I do think that killing a main character gives the show stakes. It gives like a more weight to what's going on, and it takes away some of the like plot armor that people can develop.
The reason I'm gonna say that she's not gonna die is that if they were gonna kill her, they would have just done it in this episode, right? It would have left off on her just dead. And like,
I mean, unless it's, I think
like,
that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I do think that like a season finale death is more impactful than like the second to last.
But like,
especially if
with what they're going
episode
through, you just think what they're all gonna burst at the end of.
That would be a rad ending. I think that
season.
the whole episode is going to be everybody trying to figure out like how do we fix this, like what's going on, like, and I think there's going to be a ton of tension. So I think ending with them, like all bursting.
That would be
would be like a crazy thing to end on. So that's why I don't think that they necessarily would kill her this episode.
That would definitely be my favorite way for this season to end, is with all three of them
just exploding.
Bursting. Yeah, just exploding in their mouths, their jaws, their chests, everything explodes right in front of like their loved ones.
Yeah. I would like to see what they're experiencing as well, like to get some point of view from like the people that are like, I don't know what they are, possessed or whatever. Like, because obviously, the first woman that died was dreaming and was clearly interacting with people, so it would be interesting to see like what Julie and Mary and Randall are experiencing.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really a lot more else to talk about. You could talk about like Ethan's all upset at the game table and all that. It's not really all that relevant. The only thing that makes that even slightly relevant to me is that if that's the last time he really gets to hang out with his sister, that's something he'll hang over his head. And if you want to mirror that to Victor, his BFF, Victor like had to block his sister from his memory because it was so damn traumatic that he literally like forgot about her.
Right.
And so it would be interesting if Victor's new BFF sister dies and he like starts to forget her.
Yeah.
Right? If we have a couple seasons pass and he's like stops talking about her, and then people like mention her and he's like, who? So, but that's it. I don't know.
I don't know that I have much else to say.
I want them all to blow up at the end of this.
Yeah.
That's
what we're going with. That's what we want for the ending.
Yeah. And for Tabitha and Jade to locate the lighthouse.
Yeah. That would be cool to finally see that.
Yeah.
Like again, I guess. But...
maybe like they'll go into the caves and they'll get a clue there, and then they'll go, or maybe they'll finally talk to Boyd. Yeah. And he'll be like, hey, I've been at the lighthouse. I'll take you out to it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sharing communication would be pretty rad for this show.
Although I don't know, because I think that Tabitha is going to be really distracted by Julie.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. But like that might increase their sense of urgency. Like, we have another kid. We've already lost 2. We got to get the hell out of here.
That's a good point.
Right? Might hyper focus them on the situation. So that's that. Great balls of fire. Great balls of magic fire. Till next episode, which is titled what was it again? Once Upon a Time.
Oh, okay.
So until next week, guys. We'll see you then.